Good morning, boys. Thank you for singing with all your might. It fills this space, and I know God is glorified when you do that, so thank you. Today, I'd like you to dream with me for just a moment. Think about what you would like to do someday with your life. Just dream about what that might be. Some of you dream of being professional athletes, I bet. Some of you want to be maybe doctors or lawyers or teachers. Some of you want to be what your parents are. Those are all great dreams. Today, we're going to celebrate one of our alums who had dreams while he was sitting the very same place that you are. And he dreamt about what his life might be, and then he made it happen. Each year, we have the opportunity to celebrate one of the great alumni of our school who's gone on to do great things in our community. And today, I'm excited to introduce to you Mr. Gillespie. Mr. Gillespie graduated from PDS back in 1959. He then went on to MUS, and then he went to Vanderbilt, and then he came back to Memphis to make a difference. And how did he make a difference? He did it in lots of small and large ways. First of all, he's a devoted husband and father to 3 boys who came to PDS. He went on to serve our board of trustees and lead big initiatives here at the school. He went on then to serve many, many areas of our city that were in need. You see, Mr. Gillespie was one of those people that took these virtues that we teach every day and every month here at school, and he put them into his heart, and he made them come to life in his life. So when we think about servant leaders and true friends and humble heroes and heart patients and noble knights, when we think about these people, we had a committee of people here at school who thought about Mr. Gillespie. We thought it would be good and wonderful to honor him today. So we had our first chance to honor him last night when we had a little celebration. And today is his opportunity to come share some wisdom to you. So as you're dreaming about what you might want to do with your life, I want you to listen to his words and think about how it might make a difference in yours. So boys, sit up nice and tall if you would, and would you please give a wonderful PDS welcome to Mr. Gillespie.
I think all I can say is, wow. It's very nice, Steve, and I appreciate your very kind comments. This is a very meaningful recognition for me. I really can't think of many experiences in my life or the life of my family that have meant any more for many, many years. And when I look back at some of the recipients, all of the recipients of this award who preceded me, it makes it even more special. Steve mentioned that my span here actually reaches back to the 1950s. In fact, I entered PDS in 1952. Please don't add up those years. But this whole sequence of events leading up to this morning started a few months ago when Steve and your Director of Development, McKee Humphreys, visited me in my office and told me of the school's interest in recognizing me with this alumni award. While I was very surprised, actually it was astonished and very deeply honored. I couldn't help but think back on my first days at PDS in 1952 when I entered kindergarten. One of my oldest friends was McKee's uncle, Mac McKee, and that relationship would develop into one that has lasted a lifetime through our days at MUS, when Mac was the center on the football team and I was the quarterback. And then in college, when we were fraternity brothers, he at Virginia, me at Vanderbilt, but we spent an awful lot of time together. And then respectively serving as each other's groomsmen when we got married. and now living 3 doors down from each other on the same street and sharing a membership in a duck hunting club. And then along came nephew McKee, whose friendship with my son Paul began exactly the same way as mine had with Mac back in kindergarten. Many of my closest friends date back to those formative years at PDS. So look around, you guys. The student sitting right next to you or right down the row could very easily be one of those lifelong friends like Mac or Casey Boland or so many others have been for me. PDS is truly a school for life. And each one of us, you today, as I was many years ago, are blessed to have been touched by the magic of this enduring institution. A lot has changed at PDS in the last 65 years. And I thought you might be interested in the fact that my 6th grade basketball team was the first one to play in our brand new gym, which today is the Fellowship Hall, or where you have Crusader Cafe. We also had a student safety patrol, students who helped others come across the street right here at Poplar and Goodlet, right out the front door, since most students rode their bikes or walked to school. Our favorite recess activity was capture the flag, played on the field where your classrooms are now located. The food was awful, so everyone brought their own lunch. I don't think that's true today. And I can guarantee you one thing, the chapel speakers were usually very boring. I hope this is different today too. One thing I know has not changed is the attitude toward discipline. And unfortunately, I found out the hard way early on. I decided my first experience of creativity would be in kindergarten at art class when I painted my black loafers red. And I discovered rather quickly the effectiveness of a 30-minute one-on-one in the headmaster's office. I also learned again that night when my father observed my black loafers being red. I know all of you all got off to a lot better start than that. Robert Fulghum, in the wonderful bestseller, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, stated that the wisdom you need to guide you in your life is not found on the mountaintop or graduate school or college, but there in a sand pile at Sunday school, or in this case, PDS. It includes such simple basics as I quote, share everything, play fair, don't hit people, clean up your own mess, be aware of wonder, live a balanced life, learn some and think some, and draw and paint and sing and dance some, and work hard, end quote. I would tell you today that as a graduate here, as a former trustee, and most importantly, as the dad of sons Paul, Stuart, and John, who were also PDS boys, the values that we've learned and taken from PDS are the values which are and will continue serving us throughout our lives. At PDS, it all started the very first day with faith and strong Christian morals. I see that hadn't changed one bit. I remember memorizing the books of the Old Testament, the Bible verses in morning chapels right here, and singing Angels We Have Heard on High at the Christmas pageant. Once you've realized that you'll never walk alone if you have God by your side, it's amazing how much easier life's hardships are to confront. The school's mission statement, which reads, Presbyterian Day School strives to glorify God by developing boys in wisdom and stature in favor with God and man, is an important one. It's the foundation upon which you should pattern your life. In fact, all of us should pattern our lives. My boys' summer camp had a motto, FIT, that I've seen in some of your literature, which stands for first is third. By putting God first, your fellow man second, and yourself third, you will always be a winner. Another value learned at PDS is the importance of a good reputation. What do others think when they hear your name? Do they say, he doesn't always tell the truth? I've seen him cheat in school. He sure hangs around crummy friends. Or do they say he tries hard? Or he's a good guy, seems to always do what's right. He's loyal and he's honest. Remember, reputations are built over a lifetime, but can be destroyed with one single event. So build the value of a good name day by day, and pick your friends carefully. There's nothing wrong in hanging out with the best. At PDS, I always knew my boys and I were hanging out with the best. I love the story of John Akwari of Tanzania, who was the last man to cross the finish line in the 1968 Olympics marathon race in Mexico City. He suffered a painful injury in the race but kept on going, finishing an hour after the rest of the field. When asked why he didn't drop out of the race, he explained, "My country didn't send me 8,000 miles to start the race. They sent me to finish the race." Through your academic challenges in the classroom, competition on the sports field, you're learning the value of perseverance. You are recognizing the importance of doing your best and getting the job done and finishing the race. Failure to succeed in life isn't from lack of ability. We fail because we don't give it everything we've got. Good enough is not good enough if it's not our best. The sense of satisfaction in reaching a personal goal is indeed one of the greatest emotions a person can experience. If you've tried your hardest, you've succeeded. Another important value that PDS embraced over many years now are the lessons learned from being on a team and experiencing the feeling of working together and making personal sacrifices and supporting your fellow teammate. It really doesn't make any difference what type of team, whether it's athletics, soccer, or basketball, or other intramural sports, or possibly participating in the choir, or student government, or some academic competition. It's truly amazing the goals a group of young men working together can accomplish and supporting each other and learning firsthand the meaning of "I have your back." I love that phrase. Finally, I think one of the most important lessons I learned here at PDS is the commitment to service. There's an old saying, I've never forgotten it, the more you put into something, the more you get out of it. The personal fulfillment and satisfaction of giving your time and talent to serve your school or church or your community is one of the true blessings in life. It's this whole idea of service that leads to tremendous self-enrichment, a sense of feeling good about yourself. One of my closest friends and true mentors in life was a man named Jimmy Thomas, who died tragically in an accident in France in 1999. Jimmy was the perennial glass half full person. He was one of the most optimistic people I've ever been around. His desk or his office was right next to mine in business for 30 years. And over those 30 years, I never saw him have a bad day. Jimmy wrote in the PDS yearbook his graduating year, and I quote, "My ambition is to give more to the world than I take from it." Boy, was that an understatement. In those same 30 years, I never heard him say no to any cause that needed his commitment, his service, or his leadership. Service defines the soul and the character of the community. If you look around Memphis at our amenities and all the things that make this community special, you'll probably think of museums like Brooks and Dixon and the Civil Rights Museum and the Children's Museum and the Zoo, Shelby Farms, the Orpheum, or an art form like the opera or the symphony, theater, ballet, or strategic leadership programs like New Memphis Institute, Slingshot, Bridges, or Choose 901, or the Church Health Center, or MIFA. There are so many opportunities to serve, and one of those can be right here, right now, at PDS. It's never too early to get involved. Figure out where your talents, where your passions are, and where your most effective leadership can be placed, and then start giving back. It's something you can do all your life, and I'll guarantee you, you won't be disappointed. Thank you all for the opportunity. Steve, I really appreciate your comments. Fred Schaefer, thanks for last night. It was wonderful. I'm very appreciative of this nice award and the influence that PDS has had on my life. It means a lot to me, just as PDS has always and remains one of our community's most treasured assets. Thank you very much, and go Crusaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. Thank you so much. From the fourth grade, Patrick Burke is Mr. Gillespie's grand nephew, and he's going to do the actual presentation of the award. So, Mr. Gillespie, if you would come to center stage here with me, and Patrick, if you'd come up to the podium, that'd be great.
Presbyterian Day School is proud to present the 2017 Distinguished Alumnus Award to my uncle, Paul Trowbridge Gillespie, Jr., class of 1959.